ADİP Anatolian Religions and Beliefs platform, it gives me the honor to welcome you to our international conference titled The Conversion of Spaces and Places of Worship. Our two-day conference intends to be used as a platform for the discussion of the conversion of religious spaces and places of worship over many centuries, covering the Roman, Byzantine, Seljuk, Ottoman, and Republican eras, and from the multidisciplinary approaches of law, history, politics, anthropology, architecture, as well as heritage and urban studies. This event brings together the expertise of seasoned scholars and young academics from 9 countries, including Turkey, Azerbaijan, Bulgaria, England, France, Germany, Greece, the Netherlands, Romania, and the USA. Through their rich contributions, a variety of important subjects will be discussed in relation to pagan shrines, mosques, dervish lodges and lodges, Maulavi-khanas, gem houses, and Yazidi cemetery and churches belonging to various denominations, including the Greek Orthodox, Syriac, Armenian, and Latin Catholic. Topics to be presented consist of the conversion of religious spaces and places of worship into religious, secular, and alternate religious spaces as single and multiple conversions and reconversions. The dispossession, destruction, damage, and abandonment of such religious spaces and places of worship. Legal status and the recognition of the validity, invalidity of religious spaces and places of worship, as well as the legal contestations, restrictions, and prohibitions through national legislation versus international agreements for the preservation of such spaces. Transformation within spatial and urban contexts, as well as conversion and reassignment within the context of identity, interpretations, and national memory. Before beginning our first session today, we would like to express our gratitude to our partners, without whom this international encounter would not have been possible. Firstly, we would like to thank the Netherlands Matra Human Rights Fund and the ECINIS European Union Programme for their invaluable support. Secondly, we would like to thank the Kubaba Travel and Tourism Agency team for their meticulous organization and their professionalism. We would also like to thank the members of the IDEA Project simultaneous translation team for their valuable efforts. And last but not least, we wish to express our heartfelt thanks to the conference organizing committee and the whole ADIP team for their important contributions and tireless efforts in the organization of this conference. Thank you for your attention. I now leave the floor to the founding director of ADIP and ADO, Mr. Doğan BERMEK.
Değerli katılımcılar,
distinguished
akademisyenler, araştırmacılar ve
participants,
değerli
academics,
izleyiciler.
scholars, and esteemed participants.
Anadolu'da inanç mekanlarının dönüştürülmeli konferansımıza hoş geldiniz.
Welcome to our conference on the conversion of spaces and places of worship in Anatolia. You have listened to Dr. Vanessa R. de OBALDÍA with respect to the information on the conference. I would like to thank to Matra, to ECINIS, to Kubaba, and to IDEA for all their contribution. Without them, this could not have been realized. ADIP is an NGO. We are not a university, a research center, or an institute. We are trying to find the common points within the within life in Anatolia, and therefore we will be sharing these with you. As you all know, Anatolia is a territory which has hosted the greatest number of faiths in history and is still hosting a very great number. And this is the place where the deluge of Noah has taken place. This must be the place because there is this rumor that Noah's Ark is stranded on the Judy mountain. Abraham, who is the root prophet of all monotheistic religions, is said to have lived in Haran and attacked by Nimrod here. The prophet Moses is the son-in-law of the prophet Shoaib and lived in Edessa, Urfa for some time. St. Paul and St. Nicholas, Batal Ghazi, Mevlana Jalaluddin Rumi, and Haji Bektash are certain thinkers who have lived here. The Sumerians, the Assyrians, the Phrygians, the Lydians, the Urartu, Eastern Rome, Byzantium, the Seljukids, the Ottomans, and of course contemporary Turkey are some of these civilizations and states that are situated in Anatolia. Darius, Agamemnon, Alexander the Great, the Crusades, the Mongols, the Tamerlane were attacked this piece of land, and this was defended by Hector and Kılıç Arslan and the Anatolian Seljukids, the Ottomans, and Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. Among these conflicts and turmoil, the Anatolian communities went on to live their faith and continue to coexist. It was the politicians that really caused all the turmoil, but the faiths continued to coexist. And of course, there were the thinkers of Anatolia, such as Ahi Evran Mevlana, Haji Bektash Edebali, who were great humanist Muslim leaders and defended coexistence. Despite all these conflicts, there are these there's the cave of the Seven Sleepers, there is the Virgin Mary campus, there are many other spaces which are really the sacred places of all peoples of Anatolia, and many places of worship have been shared by these different communities up until our day. We use different names for the same rituals of the same periods in history. For instance, the Islamic faith calls Hızır and Ilyas the characters that are known in history in Christian parlance as Khidr and Elias, and we call that day Khidr Ellez, while our Christian brothers and sisters call it Saint George or Judgish Nabi. And so, in brief, as as Ali said, those people who are not brothers and sisters in religion are brothers and sisters from creation. I'm talking about the Caliph Ali, of course. So the territory that is called Anatolia has succeeded to establish very important and different civilizations over history. Today, there are certain movements in the world which are discriminatory, which are radical, which are fundamentalist, populist, and oppress women and children, and that are pro-violence. But we take sides together with fundamental rights, women's rights, children's and animals and ecological rights. These are very important, it's so important that this has not been the case at all in past history. So we have very good reasons to think that the problems that I have mentioned earlier will be overcome. Despite short-term turmoils, humanity has always marched forward towards the good, towards the beautiful, towards the sublime, and there is always love at the basis of human relations, and that conflicts being the artificial and daily interests of politicians and certain people with their vested interests. In my opinion, the circumstances of the pandemic really have not been perceived sufficiently. It really provides us with lessons. It shows us how certain privileges which are held in great esteem are totally insignificant and unimportant, and the only things that one should really pay attention to are knowledge and reason. For us, all books, all faiths are sacred, and they give humanity similar messages. I don't want to say women's rights. I would like to say women's equality with men. In that struggle, the discrimination between races, religion, and language seems to have been eliminated. As we say in the founding declaration of ADİP, we have many reasons to move towards a global situation where all faiths become common for humanity. But today we're going through a difficult period. We found the courage to start this kind of work in such a period. We would, with your support, I think this will make a contribution to the history of Anatolia in a pluralist and sharing manner as an activity of friendship and science. I believe that this will be very auspicious. I would like to thank everyone who has labored for this conference, who is participating, who has contributed, and I would like to extend to you my affection and my respect. Thank you.